r/AskReddit. What's an American issue you are too European to understand? Why pay for the bigger soda cup if there are free refills for the small? Drinking tap water. I'm used to drinking tap water all day. I never buy water since it's the same as tap water. Edit. I was once on vacation in Africa. And that was my first encounter with how tap water is in some other countries. I could never imagine undrinkable tap water in Europe. School debts. That whole pledging allegiance to the flag thing? That's just so weird to us. As I've not seen it yet. Tipping culture. It's insane to me that in America, you're some social pariah for not giving a tip. Because the workers need it to live but haven't thought instead of giving them bonuses. Why don't we have a system where they're paid a fair wage by their bosses? I mean, here in the UK we tip. But it's usually around 10% for very good service. In America it seems like 20% is the default for anything and you have to do it or you can't afford to eat out. Which to me means it isn't a tip. Edit. This comment helped me discover you can disable reply notifications because fuck me, I do not need 70 responses to this lol. The double moral when it comes to sex and sexuality. Showing prices before tax like my dudes, it looks cheaper but IT ain't IG mang IG. Why the healthcare system hasn't caused literal riots yet. Not rioting or demonstrating. I mean, I'm French so the bias is big here. Edit. Damn. Thanks for the gold. The obsession with and worship of your military. Anything that happens in high school really. Edit. Geez, I'm getting a lot of replies. I'd like to respond to them all and discuss some more. But I don't really have that much time. Sorry. Why do you only have two political parties in power that alternate each other? The lack of paid maternity leave. The thought of having to hand my children to strangers and go back to work weeks after giving birth. Nobody seems enraged about what that must do to babies and mothers. How is the death penalty justified when it's been proven that innocent people have been executed? It doesn't make even a dent in the prison population. Not even 0.01%. It doesn't save money because of the necessary C.1 lengthy trial and appeals process. It doesn't act as a deterrent because criminal psychology and basic common sense says that people who commit serious crimes do not believe they will be caught and do not weigh life sentences against capital punishment. Murder-suicide is quite popular. Most of the world has abolished or is in the process of abolishing it, leaving pretty much only the worst names like North Korea, Saudi Arabia and China. American work culture. Euro here. I have direct experience of working in high-tech office environment. US folk arrive early and leave late. But productivity is rubbish. People seem to spend so much time wandering the corridors in our 37.5 hours we easily did as much as the US 50, 60 hours. We figured it was all about being seen to be a hard worker as job security was so flimsy. Your bathrooms. What idiot thought it was okay to have very small doors with gaps on all sides in every stall? How are you supposed to quietly poop and stink and fart without everyone seeing you? I can understand why you are so afraid of unisex bathrooms. Lobbyism. How come that some rich fuckwit can literally buy politicians and have some serious influence on their duty? My bet is that a ton of these differences can be explained by the percentage of Americans who live in rural areas relative to the percentage of Europeans living in rural areas in any given country. There are twice as many people in Europe, in a land area that's about the same size as the US. People live in closer proximity to other people. Huge portions of the American population live in rural areas. Celebrate that fact. And have more conservative values and opinions associated with living in rural areas. Rural Europeans aren't less conservative than rural Americans. They just make up a smaller portion of the population and are relatively less isolated. Edit. It's also true that the American system of government is set up in a way that gives rural Americans greater influence over the government than urban Americans. So it's not just that there's a large rural population. They carry a ton of weight in Washington. How only 36% of Americans have a passport. Why they use other measuring units instead of the international ones. Worrying about medical bills. I mean, I cannot comprehend how simple operations will end up costing 5-6 digits. It literally makes no sense. Everyone must have their own vehicle. For a leading first world country, how can it be that public transport isn't getting the attention it deserves? Police brutality. Every day I see here another innocent person being killed by police. Why aren't Americans putting these cops to jail for murder? In Europe, even firing a warning shot is taken super seriously. Asian here, but why wear shoes inside your homes? Why do you pay the taxes yourself? It's way easier to have it done for you by your state country since you have to pay anyway. The amount of gun violence. About a year ago in Switzerland we still had pretty much the same gun laws as America, but virtually no gun violence. Healthcare. Nobody should be dying cause they can't hold a job. Leaving your shoes on inside your home, like I can't name a single reason why I would do that. Glorification of authority and institutions just because they exist. The extreme patriotism. Having to register for voting. What? Why don't you just get a letter at home stating you only need that letter and an ID? Show up here or there on that day and that's it. Why can't you drink alcohol before 21 but you can literally have a deadly gun when you're 18? 2 political parties. What the hell? School shootings. Black Friday. Every time I see a video about it I cringe. The behavior depicted is always utterly disgusting and so unbelievably primal. Over here we have a prolonged period where sales are allowed. And even though there's more shoppers than normal, I can't recall people being desperate for a stupid discounted item. I'm surprised nobody has mentioned the prison population. Lunch debt? Why is that a thing? Why are the children being held accountable and unable graduate? Eat a goddamn lunch. I've lived in the US for 30 plus years and I still don't understand the fraternity sorority system. $50k for a university while average American earns around $40k bucks. In Norway we pay a deposit every time we buy soft drinks, beer etc. and get that money refunded when we return the empty bottles back to the store. Why don't you have that? I don't get it. It's good for the environment and prevents people from just tossing them around everywhere. Not being able to afford healthcare sounds wild, also being freaked out by a little nudity. The insane denial that your country doesn't have an obesity epidemic. It frazzles me. Not allowing people with a criminal record to vote is something I will never understand. Credit card debt and score. How the public opinion can be so turned against things that are actually beneficial to the people and to you because they are not in line with your political ideology. Because they are not proposed by somebody you voted for, or because you were told to hate it by your clearly biased news broadcasting network. Why are you incapable of building bathroom stalls without a 5cm gap in it? Drinking at age 21. I mean, for real? I live in Austria and the legal drinking age here is 16. As an American, I also don't understand any of the things that are listed. The whole tipping thing. Can't waiters be paid properly by their boss without having to rely on a customer's kindness? The grade point average, GPA, system in schools and universities. The extreme unhealthy obsession with celebrities. I don't give a fuck what you think about X-politician. And stop making it seems like your opinion must be better than the rest. And journalists are more like bloggers. They tell people what they want people to think, as opposed to informing them with facts. Fuck you Fox, HP and CNN. The fear of being honest. X. Obesity is not healthy. These king-sized drinks in fast food joints. Who can drink that much? Why is there an obsession with neat genitals? Beef curtains or vulvas or that intact penis look or smell weird? I've only heard my American friends say they are getting vaginal rejuvenation surgery and only met American dudes with cut dicks. There is also a huge range of soaps for women to use to get rid of any smells. I always learned that genitals are generally weird looking. All different in their own way. They all smell a little bit. Not horrible, but distinctive. Is American sex as sterile and routine as movies and my perception of your culture would imply? The fact that a town with 30,000 inhabitants is small. People going bankrupt and dying because your lot's healthcare system is literally just to make money for the people who run it. You have to pay for college and healthcare. Why do you not out the tax on stuff you buy in store until you get to checkout? Why the Kardashians are even close to popular at all. No required paid maternity leave. Also, if your employer does offer maternity leave, it's unpaid and only for 6 weeks. In Canada, moms and dads get over 1 year of paid maternity leave. Terrible plutocracy. Want education? Pay. Want health insurance? Pay. Want to have political influence? Pay. Want a passport? Pay. Want a small apartment? Pay through the nose. No thank you. How fucking awful the schools are. This may not be an America exclusive thing, but coming from Finland that apparently has one of the best education systems with school also being completely free, including university, hearing all these stories and seeing absolutely ridiculous stuff passed off as normal in schools shocks me. Getting into debt over healthcare. Going and dying for your country, but no beer. School lunch debts preventing poor kids from accessing meals and in turns leading to other exclusions in their school district. Public transport is shit in the US. And places that have some semblance of public transport have it all wrong. You're not supposed to have a bus stop at every single street corner. And then have a bus come every 30-45 minutes. Of course people are not gonna use it. Have bus stops be more spread out. Move your ass 5 minutes down the road and have a bus come every 5 minutes. Boom. Great public transport that will make everyone better off. It is always crazy when car drivers are the most against buses, bicycles. As a person who drives, you want as many people as you can crammed into a sardine box biking on their own separate path. Because this keeps them off the road and you have less traffic to deal with. And don't even get me started on US passenger rail. That is an absolute joke that isn't even close to funny. Utter tosh. Sticking stuff into laws that have nothing to do with law itself. You'd have law on traffic safety and somebody would stick in passage rider, I believe they are called, that prohibits abortion without consent of the father. I mean, how can you even stick a clause that has nothing to do with actual topic? Month, day, year. Why? Edit. Got it wrong the first time. Kinda embarrassing. Too much focusing on race and gender's roles. Getting offensive on everything. Like, I don't care if somebody says to me, an atheist, Merry Christmas. It's nice. ISP's actually having data caps on wired connections in 2019. People literally dying because they cannot afford to pay for their insulin anymore. Why does Ross, the largest friend, not simply eat the other friends? Thanks for watching, mate. Make sure to smash that star button for more high quality content.